Now, one of the big things that's been going on, obviously, in the world of film for the last little bit has been the accidental shooting death on the set of the Jensen Ackles, Alec Baldwin film Rust. And it's a complete tragedy. We've been talking about it. I still have no idea. I've been saying for years, I have no idea why some movies and TV shows still insist on using real guns. Even though there's not supposed to be real ammunition in them, I still have no idea whether there's no reason to. They have alternatives to that the audience at home cannot distinguish between the real thing. No idea why this happens, but it still does, and we end up with another accidental shooting death on the set of a movie with Rust. Now, we've talked about that a bit. And, we've also talked about the fact that, there's still a lot of information that needs to be gathered. Maybe we shouldn't be pointing fingers, all that kind of stuff. But the one thing we have all assumed is that it was an accident. I mean, nobody intended for somebody to get shot. I mean, whether it was terrible negligence or whatever, it was an accident. Well, for the first time, it's now kind of being suggested that maybe it wasn't an accident. Now, what's happening right now is that the armorer, the person responsible for looking after the guns and everything on the set of a movie, the lawyer for the armorer who is on the set of Rust, is now kind of suggesting that it might have been intentional sabotage. And I'm going to, without trying to paraphrase it, let's go through what they're kind of suggesting and why they're suggesting it right now. While maybe it was intentionally sabotaged for something like this to happen. So let's read through this article a bit here, because I think this is interesting stuff and it has a direct impact on what's kind of going on movie sets around the industry right now. So we'll get this. By the way, I just want to mention again, I'm already seeing some people fire in super chats. Guys, I am not taking questions via the super chats. If you want to fire in a comment about one of the topics, an observation or a comment, you can fire that in, but I am not taking questions. Don't fire in a question in the super chat for that, because I'm not going to be taking questions from there. I was very clear about that at the beginning. I just want to make sure you guys know that. Okay, let's get back over here to this article. This is from Variety, who writes, Jason Bowles and Robert, I'm sure I'm going to mispronounce this Robert's last name, Robert Gorentz, the attorneys for Rust armorer Hannah Gutierrez Reed, spoke on the Today Show, to paint a clearer timeline about how a live round got on set. Bowles also brought up the new defense that we are assuming somebody put the live round in that box, which, if you think about that, the person who put the live round in the box of dummy rounds had to have the purpose of sabotaging the set. Okay. So what they're saying here is that we believe there is a possibility that in that box with the dummy rounds and where the guns were being held, that somebody intentionally put in a live round in that with the intention of an accident then happening. That's a different narrative than what we've been hearing from people so far. Let's go back over here and continue on with what they're saying. And it's just as a reminder to everybody, the reason that, she died, the cinematographer died, was because there was a live round, something that should never happen. There was a live round in that gun. Anyway, we continue on here. The sabotaging the set statement made anchor Savannah Guthrie pause and clarify, asking, is that your theory of the case, that somebody intentionally placed a live round into a box of dummies for the purpose of it ending up in a weapon that could be used on set? We don't have any theory yet. We are investigating and we are trying to get all the facts, but that is one of the possibilities, Bowles respond. Okay, so at this point, the anchor on Today is saying, let me be clear about this. You are suggesting that somebody intentionally slipped in a live round. He's saying, look, we don't have any official theory, but that is one of the theories, one of the possibilities here. Yes. And then he goes on to explain why. Because it's easy just to say, well, I think somebody sabotages. But why does he think it's possible that somebody was intentionally trying to sabotage the set? This is where it gets interesting. When Guthrie pressed further, Bowles said, I believe that somebody who would do that would want to sabotage the set, want to prove a point, want to say that they're disgruntled, they're unhappy. And we know that people had walked off the set the day before. Now, I will let you guys go ahead and read up on this yourselves. Just go to Google, you can search for this. But one of the things that we learned about the Rust set was that the day before the accidental shooting, there was some disagreement, and some of the crew members had walked. Let me rephrase that. Some of the crew members had walked off set. Apparently, there were some people that were quite angry, yada, yada, yada. This, by the way, is not a terribly rare thing to happen. I mean, I'm not saying it happens often, but it's not incredibly rare. A movie set with so much money on the line and time being so tight and everybody trying to move as fast as they can, and as every second pass, money is being spent and blah, 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 and there's 1,000 moving pieces, understandably, there can be a lot of tension on a set for a lot of different reasons. Now, it's well documented online what caused the disgruntled, the dispute and the arguments and stuff like that. But the bottom line is that the armorer's lawyer is saying that, look, there was some heated exchanges the day before. Some crew members intentionally walked off set, and we're saying we don't think it's that far-fetched to believe that one of those disgruntled people decided to sabotage the set and drop a live round into that box. So, what do I think about this? First of all, let me say this. We have seen crazier things happen. We've all seen crazier things happen. We have all seen people do worse for much less of a reason. Is it the craziest theory in the world? Is it the craziest theory in the world that somebody who was angry and upset on the job could do something to try to undermine that workplace by sabotaging it? It's not the craziest theory in the world. We've seen it happen 1,000 times. You know, we've seen horrible stories of somebody getting in an argument at work, going home, grabbing a gun and coming back and shooting people. I mean, that's not terribly uncommon in America, unfortunately. It happens. So is this theory the craziest theory I've ever heard? That somebody intentionally got a real bullet and put it in a place where they knew it could be put into a real gun that could end up causing an accident, maybe even costing somebody their lives. It's not the craziest theory in the world. It is not the dumbest thing I've heard. Now, does that mean I think that's what happened? I don't know if I buy that that's what happened. I mean, obviously, we don't know the facts. There's an investigation going on. There's still 99% of the information we probably don't know. Right? We probably only know a fraction of the percentage of the information that's available. There's probably 99%, and so who knows? But all I'll say is, on its face value, I find it a little bit of a stretch that, you know, people arguing on a movie set, which isn't terribly uncommon, would lead them to want to put somebody's life at risk by dropping a live round into a box. Now, again, I say that from a position of ignorance. We don't know all the information. Maybe it's more feasible than I think. So, is it a plausible theory? Yes. I don't think any of us can deny it's a plausible theory. We've seen worse things happen. We've seen dumber things happen. Do I believe the theory? No. Until I see actual evidence that points towards that, I will say it's a possibility, sure. It's possible. Do I believe it? No. Not until evidence gets shown. But I think it's another interesting twist and turn. I mean, this whole incident might turn into its own movie. The Rust tragedy could at some point, I mean, if some of these crazy theories end up being true, the Rust tragedy could end up being its own movie at some point. But again, I just hope in the midst of all the finger pointing and all the speculation and all the wild somebody put a live round theories, that we as film fans don't lose sight that the most important thing here is the tragedy, that a young woman lost her life on the set of a movie, being an artist, being a creator, something that shouldn't be risking your life to do, and she died. And a husband lost a wife, a child lost their mother, parents lost their daughter, and friends lost loved ones. And I hope we don't lose sight of that. Anyway, It's an interesting new twist in the story. Question is for you guys. What do you think of this lawyer's new theory that a disgruntled employee on set purposely put a live round in with the intent to sabotage the production of Rust? Possible? Sure. Little far-fetched? Probably. But what do you guys think? Whatever it is you think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.